there are a couple, maybe new people. I'm not sure, but just in case, if anybody needs to go know where the bathroom is, right through those sliding glass doors underneath the deck to the left, that's where the bathroom is. So at any point, if you need to take care of that, you certainly can. Don't be shy. And then there's treats and all that good stuff, please. Like I said, Jamie made them and we all appreciate homemade. So help yourself. So a couple announcements. First of all, Mob. Mob is the moms of Battlefield. All the ladies of Battlefield. We meet, we follow the same schedule as solution groups. So solution groups are the first and the third Tuesday of the month. And then we follow the same schedule following on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. We have what we call the Mob. It's a 1 hour coffee date. We do it on Zoom that Wednesday, first and third Wednesday, 11 to noon, from where you're at. Ladies plan their office out, your lunch hours during that time.
We have a meeting that's starting for
just our way of just gathering together, talk about the topic from the night before. We get to know each other more. It's just really great.
Addiction meeting, a meeting about addiction.
Join us. If you need the Zoom link, you can reach out to me, Becky, and we'll get you the Zoom link. But
it's like our son Ryan.
Quarterly, we meet in person. So we just have that?
Like our son Ryan. That's why we're in this meeting.
A month ago. Okay, this one will be in December, so we'll be announcing the date here soon. After that one, it'll be a special holiday version.
No, he's not going to be there.
In person.
He's the parents, the family's there.
And then the most important thing is auction. Big news. There's a lot going on. We have like less than 40 days left.
We go every couple weeks. So anyway, it's starting up here.
A lot of you have never even been to an auction. This is our biggest event of the year. It's our biggest fundraiser of the year. We do two. We do a walk for recovery in May, and then we do our auction. This is going to be
we've been going to a.
And it is like our biggest night of the year to just all come together, family, everything, the community. We just need you all there. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, please don't delay. Don't wait. It really is helpful for us on the back end to go ahead and see those numbers. We have to kind of start getting numbers and planning and all that. So please don't delay. Get your tables, fill up the tables of 8, and bring all your friends, all your family. Plan to be there. We could really use all your help for the next 2 weeks too, like supercharged time right now. And that is getting posters out. There's a whole stack of them. We don't want to be left with all those just to throw away. So we don't be shy, like take a whole stack, take lots. If you can just get them out there in the community, hand them out like crazy. There's big ones, there's medium ones, there's small ones, there's all different sizes of these. So take as many as you want. If you can get them on storefronts, that we appreciate it. The cool thing about these is if we get this storefront and then they kind of linger a little bit after the auction, it's okay, it's good because it tells them about Battlefield. So we like that. But also not only getting posters out, but more importantly, right now we've got 2 weeks left to collect donations, meaning items for the auction. So we have our silent auction baskets, and then we have our live auction that we do. So we do both at this event. So we need products, we need services, we need experiences, we need theme baskets, we need just items to put. So people are, a lot of times they're like, I don't know, what kind of items do you need? Anything that you would bid on. If you went to an event and you would bid on, or your husband would bid on, or someone you know would bid on, anything that looks valuable and awesome, anything that's awesome, we want. And so if you can help us out in the next 2 weeks, next solution group, 2 weeks from tonight is the deadline to have all your items turned in, because then on Saturday, October 25th, is our basket wrapping party. And anybody that can come and help us on that, it's going to be at our house in Auburn. Anybody that can come and help, we invite you all. We need all the hands on deck. It's an assembly line of putting baskets together. It's organizing all the items. It's a big day on getting prepared. But we need, so drop dead deadline is 2 weeks from tonight. Even though the donation forms say October 10th is the deadline, I don't know where that date came from, honestly, because the drop dead is 2 weeks from tonight. And so who do you know? What businesses do you frequent that you can ask for maybe a gift certificate or some items? Or maybe you're someone who likes to put together a basket of goodies. You like to shop. Maybe you like to shop for pet supplies. Maybe you like to shop for home decor and you want to go do some shopping and then donate your items. And then we put a big, beautiful basket together of that theme. Or maybe it's a movie night, a date night, and you want to put that together. Whatever you can think of. Maybe it's a tool. All you men. Well, you know what? You can just be as creative as you can be. And so, so 2 weeks, go time. This is our final stretch, and we could just use all your help. We appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Am I forgetting anything? I don't think so. I don't have my Becky here to remind me of whatever. Oh, actually, I just had Bill in my little head. He's on the screen. I bet he's saying it right now. Live auction. We still need we need a plump, we need to be thinking a little big. So are you someone who knows somebody or has any connections to any property anywhere, like an Airbnb at some cool location? We do have a couple cool locations, which I'm drawing a blank, like Mazatlan is one of the ones, and then Belize. Well, yeah, so we have a couple travel packages that we've been donated, which is awesome. We need a couple more. So maybe you know someone that just has a little cottage type Airbnb in some remote area. That's valuable too, because we can create a package out of that. And so be thinking and let me know if there's anything I can do to help and reach out to somebody, or can you reach out to them in our name and say, hey, they get a tax write-off for the donation.
Okay.
All those things that is-
I just saw Becky. Does she have something?
Yeah.
Yes. Becky.
Yeah. Yeah, Bill was just making the point that, not just destinations, but things that you can get to go with them. Like if you have access to air miles.
timeshares you're not gonna use.
Right. Well, like,
Friends that have timeshares, anything like that, that's
Anything.
maybe personally you don't have, but those are all great items.
yeah, who do you know?
Are you guys at your?
Yes. So we just bought a vacation house, kind of near Lake Wenatchee, Leavenworth area. And you too, if you've been on this house, can sleep in this ginormous pine bed.
There we go.
How about that? We're gonna have to chainsaw to get it out of here. Anyway, but there's zip lines by here, golf, there's the river rafting, there's all kinds of stuff. So restaurants, skiing. So we're getting donations to go with it. Like golf, dinner, breakfast, zip line, whatever. So yeah, whatever you can think of that can go with a destination thing. Airline miles, stuff like that.
Yes. So you all can bid on that place where she's at.
Yeah.
November 15th. I didn't mention the date. Saturday, November 15th. Get your tickets. You can scan this QR code from your phone and you can get registered tonight and get your table. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll pass it on.
Texting.
It's about Jack eating all the brownies off the table.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I went inside, that was what I walked into.
Well, I don't know, but Jamie's turned this into a drug den of sugar or something.
It's chocolate. It's chocolate. Brandon texted me that. Is he gonna go to that?
They're in there, yeah, he was up on the table eating.
Yeah, when I walked into the house when I got here, he was just eating brownies. I got him off the table and he was all scared, like trying to run from me, like, oh crap.
Yeah, it's kinda hot.
He was on top of the table.
On top of the kitchen table. Yeah.
That's not a really good thing, not for.
I put the brownies on the countertop of the kitchen, so hopefully that keeps them off, but.
He'll be alright. He's eating worse. I've seen him eating some pretty nasty stuff. He eats out of the garbage. Oh, man, it's warm in here.
Important storm.
Okay, I didn't do a sound check. Everybody home, can you all hear us fine? Jane, Mary, okay, Mary waved. I assume that means yes. And Becky must have heard us. You must be good. Awesome.
Oh, little warm.
It is kind of warm. Do we want to turn it on?
No, you don't need to turn that on. That's gonna get. Okay. Whew. For those of you just like your first time or whatever, I was just thinking about it today. I've been doing this for, oh, how long? When was our first solution group? Maybe 11 years ago?
Well, we started in 14. We did the community group, solution group was the end of 14.
11 years ago, we started doing these groups. And back then we used to, for the first 12 years, we did one every week. Maybe
You
10
mean every week, twice?
I mean, for the first 8 years, maybe every week.
Twice.
Yeah, twice,
So we had on Thursdays, we had it at 4 p.m. and 7.
2 sessions.
I remember that.
Yeah, so 2 sessions at every Tuesday. For 6, 7 years, we did that. So that was 100 sessions a year. And we did that for 8 years. That's 800 episodes of the art show. You know,
We actually have all the work.
yeah, 800 episodes of me blabbing my mouth.
There's gotta be some repeats.
No, never a repeat.
You know what? It's always, he changes it up. Same general thing, but
You know,
apologies always change.
It always makes me wonder, like how a band can go out and sing the same song every night. You imagine being like the Rolling Stones and going out to sing that same shit they've been singing for 40 years.
Money does a wonderful thing.
Or comedians, comedians, you see their act, they do it once and then they go do it 100 more times, the same act. Like that must just be terrible having to go do that every night. And then your team has to watch you do it the same act every night. You know? I do this for my wife, by the way. So I can't have her see the same thing twice, She's gonna say, I heard that already.
I've never felt that way.
Yeah.
I've been to every solution group, every consultation from the beginning, and it's always dangerous.
I didn't prepare anything today, which is very weird. Normally I have a process. And sit and I go in my room and close everything down and call forth a part of me that comes and talks to me and lets me know what we're gonna do tonight. And that guy didn't show up for work today, so a part of me didn't show up for work today. I was trying to get him to come to work, but he just didn't come. So this thing has always been about. I was thinking about it today. I got into this thing about helping people, and you get into I got into helping people, and man, it's just what people said to do, and I didn't know why they're you just okay, you got out of it, all right, go help someone get out of it, and that's how it starts. And that doesn't just qualify you, and you guys come here, and I think that everyone wants to help. Everyone sees something going on around them that they'd like to aid or they'd like to help in, and they'd like to help people, mend relationships, or they'd like to help people get back together, or like they help people get their life straight, and everyone wants to help. And it took me a long time to understand what that meant. And it's still something that I'm learning. What does it mean to help someone? Does that mean you do it for them? Or does that mean that you tell them they're wrong? Does that mean that you help them figure out, what it is about them that is annoying? And have a seat, Nathan. Let's get him in here. Your son's in the back there in the corner with the hat on. And so that's what we come here for. We come here to learn how to help each other. We come here to learn how to be there for each other. But in reality, what it really showed up for me, and it's been very clear lately, even more so in my life, it's that this was really always about learning about me. This was always about learning about these parts of me, learning about the different me's, the different me's that manifest, the different me's that show up, the different ways of being that I am, the different ways of being that we are. And one of the things that I've noticed about people is some people don't really have a say in how they are. And I think that that's kind of what we're here to do, is to say, I want to have a say in how I am. I want to be able to, and I want to be able to control how I am. I want to be able to, and for me, there's a big responsibility that comes when we are able to observe ourselves, and I always say there's people that are how they are, there's people that are just how they are. And then there's people that notice how they are. And that's like the first step, and kind of what the work of this is to notice how you are, to notice these ways of being that you are, and these different ways that you be with people. And as I went on in this thing, there became an enormous responsibility in that for me, in that I can't just be with people in order to help them. I have to make a decision or like a strategy on how I'm going to be. I have to think about that. Recently, we study here, and I hope the kids are telling you, if your family's in the program, we do a lot of things about our parts, which is we talk about these parts of us. We don't. Hopefully, what that means for people is that it's not all of you that wanted to get high. It's not all. It's not. Oh, come on in.
Sorry.
Where do we got to the seats back there?
There's seats there, there's seats here too.
Okay, great. Gucci on in.
Anyways, I want you to be thinking as I talk for a second. I want one of you or somebody to get ready, and I kind of want to show you guys what goes on around here in this room when the parents aren't here, and what it is that we've been doing lately. And so, if anyone's here or on there that wants some help tonight, I'm in a real helping mood. So if somebody wants some help tonight, we're gonna kind of get them on the court, and we're gonna show you something. We're gonna show you what it is that it means to help someone. We're going to show you what it means to show somebody something about themselves that they can't see. You see, that's what it is. There's all of us in this room with blind spots, and people are telling us our blind spots. People are telling us what it is about us that's wrong, but we can't hear them. And so, because most of our time we're spending telling the other person what's wrong with them. And, that's the biggest thing that I have an issue with. And the biggest thing that we're trying to do here is we're trying to get somebody to the next level of, I know you can tell me what's wrong with someone. I got it. It's very clear. I'm proud of you that you can tell me what's wrong with someone. That's good. But can you call forth a different part of you? I've realized in this learning that in order to help someone, there's several parts of me that show up first. So when you're dealing with your kids or you're dealing with somebody that you want to help, I want you to kind of notice something and get ready to talk, whoever's there, kind of get your stuff, who's up first. But as I say this, I want you to notice, and I want you guys to all hear when we're helping somebody, I want you to see what it's like, because when you're watching somebody get helped, or when you're watching somebody talk, listening to somebody talk, there's a part of you that's going to show up for you first. And that part of you that's going to show up is going to tell you what's wrong with them. You see, the first thing that happens when we're listening to somebody talk or we're listening to somebody trouble is something comes up for us and tells us what's wrong with somebody. And then we know, hey, and that part of us wants to tell the other person that we've figured out what's wrong with them. You see? So that part of me shows up first when I hear someone talk. So if I'm in a consult or I'm here, part of me, first part shows up and says, that's what's wrong. You got it all figured out. All right, just tell them what's wrong with them and we can move on. You see? But if you ask that part why it wants to tell people what's wrong with them, you're going to find something out. You're going to find that part that wants to tell people what's wrong with them doesn't want to help. It wants to point out other people's wrongness for its own gain. You see? So the first part that shows up for me is a part of me that wants to tell people what's wrong because it wants me to feel better about who I am. That's tough because you got to question that part first. So you got to kind of bench that part of yourself and put him over there and say, yeah, I know you got to figure out what's wrong, but there's something else here. Now, I want you to know that the next part of you that'll show up when you want to help someone is a part of you that says, now try to be nice. Okay? So I want you to understand that anytime you've ever tried to help someone, this has happened for you. That if you've sat with a coworker, that if you've sat with your kid, that if you've sat with a friend, that this happened. That the first thing that happened was you figured out what's wrong with them. And the second thing that happened was another part of you said, now tell them in a nice way. And so you probably said, or maybe you're not that nice. And another part of you just said, tell them. And you're an asshole, so you just told them. And maybe you're righteous, so you just told them. So that righteous asshole showed up and you went, God, it's because they're like this or like that. Now, I want you to know that for a long time, I helped from these two parts of me. I didn't know better. that I didn't know there was something on the other side of that. And so it was just those two parts that show up. So if you got a kid and it's doing something wrong, it's going to be very natural for you to, number one, go, let me tell them what's wrong with them. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to try to say it nice, but you might be an asshole, so you might not. But what you're going to get out is you're going to get out what's wrong with them. Now, if you talk to those two parts of yourself and kind of limit their access to the other person and kind of sit there with them and say, well, we can't do that, because that's not really going to be helpful. So thank you for the advice, but I do know what's wrong with them. The next thing that happens is you can get to this third part of yourself. Now, the third part of yourself comes up with a big question. See, if you get by telling them what's wrong with them, and if you get by trying to do it nice or mean or however you're going to do it, and you get to this third part of yourself when you try to help another human, what's going to kind of show up is how. Like a real wise part of you will come forth and say, I need to help them, but how? Now just think of that. Think if you've ever reached that third or fourth part of yourself. That part that says, wait. And if you get to that third or fourth part, you're going to see that when you get there, you're going to need something. You see? You're going to need something called a rapport. You see, the next thing that's going to happen is you're going to have a wise thing that says a part of you that's going to stand up and say, but do we have the rapport? Can we actually, do they trust us? Can we actually show them something about themselves that they will believe in? You see? So I got this thing where I'm kind of like first, second parts of us. And not only is this work in the helping world, this works in every aspect of your life. I want you to remember this tonight. When you act from the first couple parts of yourself, you know, the first part of us is reactionary. The first part of us is superior. The first part of us is righteous. It sticks up for us. The second part of us is a filter. It's trying to say, don't be so righteous. Don't be such an asshole. Look good. So the first part is reactionary and the second part says, look good. Now, in order to make anything happen, you got to get by the reactionary part of yourself and you got to get by the looking good part. So think of that. Everything you've ever done, reactionary. Now try to look good. You see? And and my point of this, just briefly, is that this is the kind of thing I'm talking about when we learn about ourselves, when we learn what's going on in here, when we really decide that what I need to do in my life is figure out how to skillfully operate this. That I don't need to just constantly say that out there needs to change and then I'll be happy. That once people around me start acting differently, I will feel better. You see, is a big difference. See, there's no more illusion for me. You people can't help me. There's nothing you can do to get better to make me feel better. There's no way you can act. None. There's no way this world can act to make me feel better. If you still believe that there's a way that this world can act to make you feel better, you're nuts. You see? So we have to understand that it is in here. That we are playing a game of whack-a-mole with the personalities and conflict inside of us. That it's constant. That your peace, your lack of peace, has nothing to do with this world. It has to do with the conflict that's happening inside of you. It has to do with one part of you saying this and another part of you saying this and doing something that one part of you tells you to do and then another part of you comes up and says you shouldn't have done that. Regret, shame, guilt. All that stuff started with one part of you telling you to do it. And now another part of you is telling you you shouldn't have done it. And parts of us taking us over and having us act on people and say, God, I shouldn't have talked to them that way. And I should have talked to them that way. And why didn't I say this? And then in the middle of the night, you wake up in a panic. How come I didn't say that when I was in that fight? That would have really got him. Next time, I'm going to get him. Next time I'll say this, it'll be so smart, it'll dazzle the world, and that person will feel so stupid, and I'll make them feel like and the other person will just go, man, you're smart. I wake up in the middle of the night with that sometimes. If I would have said that, that would have proved my point, and then I would have got them. They would have felt so stupid about themselves, and I would have won. That's every fight. Now, haven't you been alone with the parts of yourself going over what you should have said? Going over how you should have destroyed another person or got them or made them feel bad about themselves or made them feel stupid or made them feel little? You've done that. You've been there. You see, I don't have any more illusions that this world does anything for me, that I am alone in here with a committee of parts of me, and it's like me and a bunch of screaming children in here. And in order for me to have peace, I've got to listen to each kid. In order for me to have peace, I have to quiet these children that are inside of here. I have children yelling at me saying, we should do this, we should do that, you should say that. They shouldn't be doing that. How come they're doing this? Why are they doing that? That person shouldn't do that to you. Another kid's very judgmental. He's like, look at that piece of shit. Look at that piece of shit. I got all these kids talking in here. None of them are me. You see? Everything you hear inside your head is not you. Can you get that? None of it's you. I need people to really understand that. None of it's you. Everything you can hear can't be you. Every voice, every thought, none of it's you. You think it's you. It ain't you. You're the thing hearing it. How can you hear it if it's you? So you have that in here. All these parts of you talking to you, saying things to you all day, and you think it's you. It's not. This is the spiritual awakening. You're the listener. Listen to these things. They're not you. So if you can sit here and you can say, wait, I don't know what it's going to say in here next. You don't. You don't know what it's going to say in here next. Close your eyes. You'll be surprised. So it's not you. You know, that's big for me. I had to realize that all this stuff that's going inside of me isn't me. It's just going on inside of me. I'm just listening to it. You know, it really makes up for a lot of the shame and guilt if it's not me. You know, a part of me sometimes takes over and yells at people. A part of me comes out of me and takes over this system and yells at people. It's not me that does that. It's a part of me. Now, I'm not leaving responsibility of it. I'm saying that I can apologize for that because it wasn't me. It was like a foreign installment of me that takes over to protect me. You see? So when I'm being an asshole, something takes me over, and usually it's like a little something in here that defends me. And it comes through me and it starts trying to protect me. Like a really, really strong kid in my family that's protecting the house. So that's what it's like. So I don't need to feel shame and guilt. I can just say, hey, a part of me got loose. You see? See, this learning about me and these different parts of me and these hundreds of different voices in here, and the judgmental part of me and the analytical part of me and the loving part of me and the angry part of me and the caring part of me and the part of me that doesn't give a shit about anyone. There's all those parts. There's a part of me that cares deeply about people. And there's another part of me that says, fuck them. There's a part of me that wants to be kind and nice, and another part of me that says, this is bullshit. They're treating you like shit. Why be kind and be nice? Isn't this happening for you all? You see? This is what we're dealing with, this human condition. It's real. But it's nothing to do with out there. See, if I don't like somebody in this room tonight, it's not that I don't like that person. It's that a part of me doesn't. And it's not that a part of me doesn't like that person. It's that I don't like that part of me. I don't like hearing from that part of me. You see, if you excite a part of me and get that part of me to speak to me and tell me that I'm annoyed and tell me that I'm frustrated, you know, it sounds like that. So I get around somebody and then a part of me goes, God, they're annoying. I have to hear that. That doesn't mean you're annoying. It means a part of me is telling me that you're annoying. Like a little kid. So what if I can talk to that little part of me and say, back it down a notch, bud. You don't know him. What if I can lead that part of me and not be then ultimately annoyed by you? What if I can say, it's not you, it's this part of me. You see, it's this part of me that won't shut up when I'm around you. And that's how it's like. And it's not my anger, it's this part of me that gets angry when I'm around you. And I got to figure out why this part of me gets angry when I'm around you. I have to talk to it and I have to figure it out. I have to put it together. Spirituality, I used to be on a quest. I thought, I'm going to get to a place if I meditate enough, if I go to enough retreats, if I yoga this shit, I thought that at one point that was going to make me Zen-like. You see, I was going to go and all these parts of me would go away magically. Now what I realized was there was a part of me that wanted to be more spiritual than other people. Like a little kid that says, let's be spiritual. Let's show them all. You know how they get angry and shit? You won't anymore, Art. You'll be Mr. Cool. You'll meditate, be Zen-like. And that part of me was acting up. So I would follow that, read books. I'm going to be spiritual. I'm going to meditate in the morning. What are you doing? I'm being spiritual. You ever see these meditators? Yeah.
I'm such a sad.
I'm going to make it so there's no voice in here anymore. It's just going to be quiet. It's just going to go, ah. I'll tell you what really does it. No, I won't. Never mind. Tell you what makes it quiet in here. Yeah. So there I went. Gonna go be more spiritual. But see, that was just a part of me that wanted to prove to people that I was better than them. You see? Because that was the way I was going to get known. I was going to be more spiritual. So you were going to be the person that always get upset, and I was going to be the person that didn't. There, I'm more spiritual than you. You see? You see? I was listening to this guy, Noah Levine, and he ran this thing called Refuge Recovery, and he's a big meditation teacher. And then he got sold out stadium to talk. 60,000 people in this stadium to hear him talk. And then he starts out the thing and he goes, now we're all going to meditate. And he's sitting up on the stage. Everyone's watching him meditate. Oh, he's sitting Indian style. I thought, wow, what are they doing? What are they doing? Look at him meditate. Meditation is supposed to be like a bicep curl for the mind. So that would be like a guy gets up on the stage and grabs like a big dumbbell and everybody's watching him and he goes. And everyone goes, oh, look at that. And so I realized it's not that this spirituality thing, what's going to come? What does it really mean? What does it mean to be spiritual? What does it mean? And what I've gathered is that what it means is that we can quiet the parts of ourselves by listening to them, not by pushing them away, not by saying they don't exist, but by talking and listening to them. If you had a house full of rowdy children that wouldn't comply, and you thought you could just tell them all to shut the F up every day, or you're going to ground them, it wouldn't work. But if you actually took the time to listen to each child, each person in the house, so that you actually validated them and figured out what it is that they need and want, you could maintain peace in the household. So I have to listen to each part of me and ask each part of me why it's talking and what it wants. And I have to cultivate this every day in order to have this part of me be quiet. and do its job. You see, I have to deal with these parts of me on a daily basis by asking questions of them and hearing them and not becoming them. You see, we're always parting or selfing, I would call it. We're jumping from one part of us to another all day with no awareness. And it takes you over before you even know it. So one part of you is thinking, and then another part of you is thinking, and another part of you, and where are you? And so actually to stay in the middle between, be there between the world and the parts of us is different. It's tough. You have to stay in this observer position. You have to stay there and hear. Now, once you stop hearing the parts of you talk, that means you've become them. You see, it goes like that. So now when I'm not hearing, when I'm not observing what they're saying and listening, then that means I'm not practicing anymore. Something's really taken me over. Maybe not even practicing, but it just means I'm not aware then. I'm not present. You see? So staying in this position is very difficult. But this is what this whole thing, in my opinion, was about. You see, this stuff made you very angry. This stuff made you very scared. This challenge, this thing that came into your life. It came into your life because your parts needed to be lit up. You needed to have different parts of you called forth, and then you need to learn about different parts of yourself so you can call forth these helping parts, these patient parts, these wise parts. You all have the answers. You got to get to the part of you that has the answers, and you got to be with that part. You see, a lot of parents, I'll tell you, you don't get to that level because you're with a part of yourself that you don't ask questions of. And here's how it sounds when you're with that part. God, my kid's better get this. If he doesn't get it, my kid's going to be, oh my God, I'm going to be a terrible parent if they don't get it. It's just not going to, that part's talking. Okay, I got to be nice though. I got to be nice. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to look like I'm hurting them. Maybe I'm going to hurt them and they're going to go off and hurt themselves. And maybe they're going to do drugs and they're going to kill themselves. And then I'm going to be a bad parent. I'm going to live the rest of my life like this and I'll have all regret. And maybe that's what's happening in your head. So how could you have wisdom? Because you haven't talked to that part and said, hey, wait, back it down a little bit, bud. We're fine. I got this. You see? So maybe you're with that part of yourself and your kid lights up that part of yourself. And maybe it lights up the righteous part of you where you just go, you shouldn't be doing this. And then maybe it brings out the lecturer. The lecturer part of you? That lecturer that goes, when I was a kid, we did it uphill both ways. And a lot of parents quit drugs. So then they look at their kid and go, I just stopped. I don't know what you're doing. A lot of people say that stuff. Brings out that righteous part of us. Now that part don't help. So you're going to have to bench that part of you if you want to be a helper. I thought that part helped. I couldn't figure out. I used to help people by telling them what's wrong with them, and then people didn't like me. And I was like, I don't know why they don't like me. I clearly told them what's wrong with them. I mean, they should just listen and then pick up what I did. Lived experience. That's dangerous. You see? Okay. So maybe we can show this in real time. Maybe somebody needs some help tonight and we can put them on the court and show you exactly how we dig in a little bit. If anybody's willing, I'm very tender tonight. I'm very tender tonight. I won't hurt anyone. We'll bring out real tender, loving part of me and see if I can help someone. No, but there's a big, what if that was a question that you asked yourself on a daily basis? How should I be? How should I be? And that question is deep because what it means is, how should I be with this other person to help? How should I be with this other person to really maybe get my point across? How should I be with this person to make a difference in the relationship? How should I be? Mace, you raising your hand? Okay.
Is initially look for the bad in a conversation.
Yeah.
any interaction, I always assume the worst.
Okay,
If somebody's wronging me.
okay. So let's, you see, a part of you does that, right, Mason? Okay, so now that you know that a part of you looks for the worst, right? You know, that's big. That's big because he didn't, you know, if you can understand that you don't look for the worst in people, you understand that a part of you does that. Now, ask that part of you why it does that.
Being defensive.
Oh, just I want you to think of it like a friend that helps you. And I want you to figure out why it does that. Why does that friend of yours do that?
Things that you
Exactly. He's protecting you because he's seen you get hurt before. Right? And there he is, a loyal friend saying, we got to watch out for this guy. We got to make sure this dude don't hurt us again. You've seen this before, this thing. Right? And you need to know what I mean by him working with that part of himself. By asking it, by hearing it and not becoming it and asking it, he can now gain ground and he can say, hey, wait, I thank you for serving me. I thank you for looking out for me. But right now, I don't need you. You see, right now, I just need you to take a seat for a second. And the next thing that happens is he can call another part of himself will be called forth. Like a part of him that goes, wait, now we got that guy out of the way. We got that brother out of the way, that loud brother that always looks for what's wrong with the person. Another brother, another part of you can step up and say, now let's look for what's right maybe one time. Now that's huge. That's big, you see? But he's never going to get past that first part of himself if he doesn't hear it, not become it, hear it, see that it's going on, observe it, and then talk to it and ask it what it's up to. Why are we doing this? Why do you want to try to take this guy down? What's the point? Okay, I see you're trying to protect me. Thank you for trying to protect me. Thank you. Thank you for being there for me. Like a loyal employee and you're the boss. You see? You're the boss. You're the leader of this thing. Not these parts of you that aren't you. You lead this thing. This is what we're doing. I'm the parent here. I'll hear what you have to say and take it under consideration and thank you for your contribution, but I'm not going to become you. You know? Sometimes I get the image when I'm talking to people after learning this about myself that I can become my parts if I don't watch my parts when I'm in conversations. After learning this, sometimes I get the image of knocking on a door and having the 5-year-old answer the door. You know, when you go to someone's house and like a 5-year-old opens the door and you're like, are your parents home? Is there any adult in here I can talk to? That's the image I get when I'm talking to people's parts sometimes. Is there a leader or an adult that could step forth to like get you to quiet down and go back to your room, please? Because I feel like I'm talking to a child part of you. You see? So that's right there, just a recognition of a lifetime. You know, many people go their whole lifetime without knowing there's a part of them that tries to tear everyone down that they meet. They go their whole life not knowing. Some of our parents could have been that way their whole life. And that's how they are. It's pretty big. Who's next? Anyone at home too? See, what we call it is getting on the court. It's getting on the court with a problem or a dilemma or something that we can work out.
You too, Mason.
Something that something that you want to bring to light. And like I said, I'm gentle.
We talk more about the third part and the fourth part.
Okay,
We know the first two parts, right?
you know the first two parts, right?
How does the third and fourth interact?
Okay, I want you to.
First two parts.
Okay. I want you to get this image in your head. I want you to get the image of a boardroom in your head. Okay? And I want you to say that you're the CEO of this boardroom and you're running the meeting and you're in there and there's a problem in the company. And as the problem shows up and we're talking about the problem, there's one guy that raises his hand and goes, "It's all screwed up. This is what's wrong." Right? And that's the first guy that shows up inside here. And the next guy that shows up says something to the effect of like, "Well, just everyone calm down. Let's not look stupid here." Right?
Gotcha.
And then the third guy really asks a question. Something like something smart, really. So when you get to that third part, there'll be a question. And the question will be like, "Yeah, but what do we do?" Or he kind of just, like that. And the fourth guy comes in, the fourth and fifth level come in with some answers. But they're so tired, they've given up on answers because the first two employees are so obnoxious that they've become disgruntled. Okay? So you never get to these levels because the disgruntled employees always take over the boardroom, and any guys with wisdom have just backed off and said, "Forget about this." Okay? Now, as a good boss, you have to be able to control these first two employees. You have to be able to keep the calmness in here. You have to be able to bring forth the other parts. You see, I'd eaten poorly for so long, and I have eaten poorly for so long that the parts of me that have wisdom when it pertains to food and have any sense have become disgruntled because they know I'm just going to listen to the little child that gets what he wants. Okay? But when I ask that little child why we're going to eat that today, the child that's trying to make me eat that, when I ask that child why I'm going to eat that today, he doesn't have any answers. They're all bad answers. But as soon as my other parts see that I'm questioning that childlike part of me, these other parts come forth and talk again. So as soon as I say, "Why are we going to have that? That's not very good. What is the point?" And the little child part of me goes, "Well, it's going to feel good." And I go, "Well, that's not really what I need right now." Another part of me steps up and goes, and this is something I'd never heard inside here for a lot of years. Just eat the food real quick, and after you're hungry, you won't remember that you didn't eat shitty. That's what happens.
Yes.
So there's this part of me that I've never heard talk before that now talks, and it goes, "Just eat, and afterwards, it doesn't matter what you ate."
Good part.
That's a wise employee that I have that I hadn't had any access to in a long time. So for you, I don't know what your third and fourth parts do. I don't know what your fifth part does. I just tell everyone, unless you question the first two or three parts, these guys that have been doing drugs, you relapse or whatever you do, you have to give in to the most lowest part of you to go do that. So the lowest part of you has to come up forth and say, "Let's go have some fun today." And that lowest part of you has to silence its older brothers and the wisdom in every other part of you. And it has to say, "You're all coming." So now get the image. You're in a living room. You're a parent. there's a bunch of kids there. You say, hey, what are we doing today? And one of the kids says, we're going to eat shitty and get high and feel good all day. And you've been doing that so long and doing with that. Well, we're going to get high and we're going to do drugs and it's going to be magical. And as a drug addict, you've been giving in to that little boy for so long or that little girl for so long. You've been doing what he says. That his older brothers and sisters are sitting in the living room going, we're doing this again today. You see, the whole system is protected by this family, but you've been given into this lower part of you for so long that they've become disgruntled. They don't talk anymore. But the moment you, as a parent, question that little child in you and go, what are we going to gain from that? How's it going to end? You now allow the older brothers and sisters in the family to begin to say things again. And they will talk. They will say, yeah, let's not do that thing again. I don't want to go to jail. See? A party will come up and go, yeah. Let's not do the whole drug thing again today. Let's do something chill, like go to a movie. You will have other parts of you come forth when you question that first part. And it works for everything. It works for the way I talk to my wife. If she's talking to me and a part of me wants to react, and if I can just get past that first part, you see, I can just say, why do you want to say that right now? And there's never any good answers as to why it wants to say that, other than it wants to protect me and defend me. And so I can kind of bench that part of me, and I can go, dude, just chill for a minute. I got you. It's going to be okay. We're fine. And another part of me will step up with something a little bit better to say. If I can just talk to this part and not let it take over me. See? There is and this is the technology. This is how you run this human thing. You know, there was a time we didn't have parts. It was blissful. It was quiet in here. We played all day. Right? We just played. There wasn't this conflict inside. It didn't happen. It built over time, and these parts of us developed to protect us at different ages. And now we've got these things that protect us and take us places, and even the part of these kids that takes them to get high. That's just a protection. It's not a bad part. It's a part of them that says, let's feel good today. Please, Mom. Please, Dad. Let's feel good. This sucks in here. Let's go feel good. And you can see why someone would develop that part of them. It's not hard to see. What are we trying to do? We're always trying to do things to quiet our parts. We're trying to pay attention to something else. We're trying to look at TikTok. We're trying to do something to get everything in here to shut up. But we don't want to listen. And the actual way you get to spirituality, the actual way you get to peace, is not getting it to shut up, not meditating it away, not just saying, I'm going to force this to, I'm not going to, it's to listen. I was with someone the other day and they were talking about this spiritual part of them, this part of them that wants to be more spiritual. And I said, don't listen to that part. Because what that part wants to do is shut up the other parts. What you really need to do if you want to be more spiritual is not listen to the part of you that says be more spiritual. Listen to the part of you that are yelling and making it so you're not spiritual. Listen to the parts of you that are talking. Listen to them. If you don't listen, they're never going to shut up. If you don't question why they're talking, they're never going to shut up. They linger, they create a mood, they create discontent. They do that, and you can't meditate that away. You can drink it away. You can drug it away. It worked when we started doing that. When we started doing drugs, it shut these parts of us up. The reason that you're sitting here today is that it stopped shutting those parts of you up. That's why you're here. Because then you started getting high and those parts got louder. So you did more and more and more, and there's the consequences came and you couldn't manage it. Why? Because it got real loud in here and it didn't create the peace. And then when the drugs wore off, it was really loud in here and your parts were screaming at you. So you woke up and these parts of you are screaming, saying, why did you do that? Who are you? What is going on? I hear all these terms, parents talking about low self-esteem or low confidence or anything. By the way, I don't believe in that anymore. So what do you mean? You have a part of you that says you're not good enough. Okay. And we as humans consider that low self-esteem? We all have a part of us that says we're not good enough. What if we didn't? Maybe we wouldn't get any better. Maybe we wouldn't evolve. Maybe it's important to have a part of us that says, hey, do better. Maybe we just listen to it and go, hey, it wants me to do better. Okay. Maybe we ask it why we should do better. I love it. We go to a doctor, I'm depressed. The doctor never goes, well, let's look at the conditions of your life. I went to the doctor when I was younger. I was a off and on drug user. I was gambling all my money away. My life was a mess. And I went to the doctor and he told me that I had depression. And so he gave me drugs. And I went to the doctor to get those drugs. I knew he would. He never said, hey, can we talk about the conditions of your life? That's like going to the doctor and saying, my apartment reeks. It stinks in there. It smells like shit. And the doctor goes, here's a nose pin. He never says, hey, you should clean up that shit. It won't smell like that anymore. Instead, he just gives us a nose pin to cover up the smell. And the shit gets worse. Because we don't pay attention to it. You see? A part of you is depressed. That is exactly like if you were a parent in a household and one of the kids was up in his room moping and sad. You can't just push that kid away and say you don't exist anymore. You got to go talk to that kid. You got to go say, hey, what's going on? What's with this sadness? Where's this sadness coming from? No, I'm not saying in all cases that's the way depression works, because I understand there could be chemical imbalances, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's a lot of work we can do. Are you depressed? Are you noticing you're depressed? Oh, well, I notice I'm depressed. Then you're not depressed. You're the noticer. There, I just ended your depression. You are the thing that notices there's depression. How could you notice it if you're it? You see? A part of you is depressed. Okay. All right. Anyone next? Anyone at home? Let's see if they raise their hand. I would really like to help someone. You know, the main thing that I want to do in my mission in life is just to get one thing done. It would be like this. If I could do anything for humans, I would put a GoPro on every human and I would point it at their face. And then I would let every human know that every night at 11 o'clock, you're going to be on the news with what you did today and what you said today. You would really start watching yourself. The embarrassment of the first day when you lost your cool and you were angry, the times you were talking negatively about somebody that you just said hi to and smiled to and said how you're friends, the backstabbing at work, the talking about your boss behind his back, the on and on and on and on. And at some point you go, you know what I need to do? I need to start watching me. And that camera would work. It'd be beautiful. And all that complaining about other people's behavior would start to diminish. And you'd go, I got bigger problems here. I always tell the kids in the program, you know, if the program gets way better and you change it by complaining about it, and your roommates get better because you told them what was wrong with them, you would still be you. Then you can leave here exactly the same and hope to change us. Or you could spend the time that you're here using what's happening out there to light up what's happening in here and focus on what's happening in here. And then you can get better. I always say when people come here, there is, and raise your hand and interrupt me from yapping at any time if you want to get here. But I always say there's like stages of coming into this room. And the first stage is that I like to stage people. That guy's funny and interesting. I like when people are in that stage, they're like, he's funny and interesting. And I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
And then the second phase is he's funny and interesting, and I know somebody who needs to hear what he has to say. They need to be here. They got to hear what this guy has to say. They need to change. And then the third is like, oh, wait, maybe I need to hear what he has to say. And then the fourth is, now that I've heard what he has to say, nobody needs to hear what I have to say. I'm fine on my own. Nobody needs to come here and I heard it. And I can now affect everyone around me through my change. Now I know how to do it. And by actually just focusing on me, people change. I had to learn to be with people. That was it. That was the whole ballgame. How do I be with my own anger? How do I be with my own reputational issues? How do I be with my own concerns? How do I take my shit away from and not combine it with their shit? How do I untangle myself from this thing? How do I know when I need help or they need help? Back it off a little. Okay.
I have a thought,
Yeah.
just a little thought, not too big. But
Oh, okay. Wait. Let's see what Sherry just did there.
she doesn't talk all the time.
Okay.
She said, yeah.
She has a part of her that doesn't want to hear Gary's thoughts. It's a big part. Yeah.
Video.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that drugs are like comfort food.
Yeah.
You know, they're great going in. They can cause problems down the road.
Yeah.
You know, that's just a little thought.
Yeah. Well, I always say that if we live to be 200 as humans, people would be more concerned about somebody eating poorly than they would drugs. You see, because the humans that eat poorly will be a bigger cost on society. They'll be dragging along in their 120s, diabetes, and going to, you know, overweight and dragging themselves to the doctors over and over with other problems and running up insurance bills. Well, the people that did drugs will just kind of end it quickly and be gone by 60 or so.
Or just live poorly and fast, good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Drugs get the job done way quicker than food, but they're both the same problem. And drugs also, I don't know if I'm going to ever be, you know, robbing somebody at gunpoint for some Oreos. You know.
Just like a few.
See, somebody's parts are right now. There's a part of somebody that wants to step up and say something, and then the looking good part keeps saying, "Don't do it." And there you go. You see, yes.
So, the book that you are learning a lot of this from, Art,
Uh-huh.
is it just internal family systems, or is there more than one book?
There's a bunch of them, but I would say that I've really I've studied book, but everything I talk about really has moved on for me past that into my own kind of creation. And so, yes, that's important, but for me, it's a different creation. For me, the difference between me and that book is that I think that everything in here is just a part. And for me, it's just it's one step that I ask that I beg of people. Close your eyes and listen for instruction. If you close your eyes and you listen, you will hear your children talking. You will hear your kids or your parts or your employees or your committee or whatever you want to call it. You'll hear it talking. And you'll have analytical guy and you'll have judgmental guy and you'll have nice guy and you'll have mean guy and you will have, you will hear a different world when you just look at it that way. And so for me, the teaching of it is close your eyes and listen for instruction and hear your parts and just hear what comes up. Don't do anything yet. And we are a system operated by a committee. And so, and that system is this thing that we are like just a passenger in until we are just a passenger in it until we question it. You see, if you don't question the commands that are coming to you and the information that's coming up, then you are a robot. Not spiritual, but actually just dead to your parts, being ran by them. So the thing is to say, I don't want to be ran by these parts of me and be the same way that I've always been. I want some change and growth. And I want peace. That's what I really want, is I want harmony amongst this committee. I don't want to do things anymore in my life that one part of me does that another part of me regrets. I don't want that kind of conflict. You see? And that's the biggest conflict that we face. We always face that. Those are the worst days as humans. Is one part of me prompted me to do something. And now I'm sitting with, I wish I wouldn't have done that. That's it. And so how can I create harmony in here? You see?
Because I'm really trying to understand this. So,
Yeah.
So all these voices.
Yes.
And I get that, you've got the protection voice and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But if you're ADD or ADHD, do you have 1,000 different voices as opposed to just the 5 or 6 or 10 or what a normal person deals with? I mean,
yeah, I mean, I would just classify that as something like, some households have 3 kids and some have 12. And I don't think it means anything. I don't think none of this stuff, to me, none of this stuff means anything. You've been given a human system and you're in here observing it and swimming around in it. And you're the light that lights it up. Okay? And so if you can just stay in this observer position and hear the system talking, it is a beautiful system that's got you this far. But it just gets you what you get. It doesn't change. The only thing that changes the system without lighting it up and without recognizing it is pain. You see? Because if one of your kids keeps telling you to do something and you go with that kid and do what it says, at some point there'll be enough pain where his older brothers and sisters stop saying, please don't do that anymore. Okay? Absence of enough pain, change would only come from you questioning your own parts. You could do change before that. You see? But somebody that doesn't know they're not their parts has to listen to them. and has to do and obey. You know, and you got out of bed today, a part of you told you to do that, and you obeyed. And I'm saying we should be, as humans, we should be questioning everything. Get out of bed, Art. Get up. You got to get up. Why do you want me to get up right now? I mean, that's something. Say that to them. Why do you want me to say that to them? Eat that. Why do you want me to eat that? Go to there. Why do you want me to do that? I mean, literally, we are being ran by this. So for me, it's like, okay, it's this acid trip of recognition that you're on this new life experience where you're now, and I call this humility, to be honest. A place where we can question everything about ourselves would be called humility. A person who can't question their parts at all and does exactly what they say cannot have humility. You could have a humble part of you that plays and performs humble, but that's not humility. Aw shucks. But true humility would be listening to a command and questioning it. Why would I say that? Why would I believe that? Why do I think that? Why do we believe that? Why do we think that? Why do we need to say that? Why are we like that? And what's happened for me personally is just that when I got this information and I started looking at my life this way, that none of these parts are me, there became some insight into motivation that you can only get by questioning it. And it just changes what I'm doing. You know, I don't listen to the guy that tells me I don't like someone anymore, so I can like everyone. Somebody said, you don't like him. Well, why don't we like him? Well, there's no good answer. There's just no good answer. They don't believe what you believe. Well, back it down. So it's everything. And it changes your interest. My interest now is in this internal family, not out there, which is interesting, but not as interesting as how I respond to out there. This is more of a challenge to be with this. Why they call it an internal family is what they're suggesting is it's just like that. You've got an internal family in here running you. You've got children in here, and you got older brothers and you got older sisters, and they're looking for a parent. And they're saying, you've been operating your life with no parent. You've just been letting different kids talk. And you've been operating with no parent. And the parent has to be there to say, we don't talk without my permission. And then you will fail. And then I'll be in a heated situation, and one of my parts will get out and take over, and there will be a ultimate failure and regret. But the regret isn't what that person did to me. The regret was the way that I let this part get out and behave, because I could have done better. And so then the practice ensues. Okay. And then lo and behold, over time, my behavior evolves. I get more skilled at not letting these children speak for me. And I get more skilled at validating them, so there's peace in here. So even if we do make a mistake and one of the older brothers is mad at the little kid for getting out and yelling at people, and so he's like, why did we do that? How can we behave that way? I can now talk to that part right after it happened and go, easy, bud. Relax. Little guy got off the chain. We're fine. Apologize and move on. And that's happened within the last week. Over and over. I'm not saying it that there's any, I'm better or anything like that. I'm saying this is the fun way that I get to learn to operate this system. And it's not always perfect, but it's getting more peace in here. And I can prove that by just who I am and how it operates. But I'm also saying there's complete failure all the time. These kids are loud in here and they're rambunctious, and it's a not always a nice house.
Well, and the more people that you're with, the,
More, that's right. And the new situations you're in.
yeah.
You can get good at keeping all these parts quiet, but walk into a new situation. I go into like a gala that I don't know anyone. Like this Saturday, I'm gonna have to go to this thing called the Great Debate. I don't want to go to the Great Debate. I don't want to do nothing like that. You got to get on a suit and go like meet people in Seattle and act like you care. And the parts of me are always like, don't look like an idiot. Just go over and stand in the. And then I'm like, stand. I don't know anyone, but you don't know anyone. What are you gonna do? Just fucking walk up to people and, you know?
They don't teach you to make friends.
No. So then I do the thing where you go over to the side and you just like act like you're on the phone or something. You know? They're like, well, yeah. And then everybody wants to tell you about their thing. And I've kind of lost interest in talking about my thing to anyone. I don't know. I just have.
Yeah.
So you just go and everyone's like, let me tell you about my thing. This is what we do. This is what we do. And I'm like, okay. You know, well, we raise money for everyone's raising money for something. Yeah, we raise money for people with bad toenails and yeah. You know, okay. Yeah, you know, I'm big in the no toenail. Okay. And the problem is we have to raise money at Battlefield, but I have no interest in raising money. Like I don't. Do you need money? Not enough to ask you for it. All right, doesn't Battlefield need to raise money? Yeah, not enough for me to ask. So I'd rather be broke and ask someone for money. I'm good, dude. Yeah, it's nuts, you know. But this is the learning. I thank you and I thank everyone because this is it. It's an honor to be in people's life and it's an honor to learn about your parts of yourself. And it's an honor that you get to do it. Yeah, Kristen.
The parts that are chaos seeking and feel comfort in chaos, how do you validate that part of you, even though that's all that you've ever known?
Well, that's a good question. But the first thing is the parts that are chaos seeking aren't going to tell you they're seeking chaos.
No.
They're going to come falsely motivated. So first of all, you have to unveil the false motivation of your parts. So parts that seek chaos aren't going to go, let's go do some chaos. They don't.
Over here.
They're going to say, you know, they're going to rationalize things. So the parts of us that seek chaos, they rationalize things. You see, they'll rationalize red flags and turn them into green flags. They'll tell you why things are a good idea that aren't. They'll make excuses for yourself. You see, the chaos is in the blame. In order to be involved in chaos, it can't be your fault. You see, people call me. I used to have this experience all the time. And it was always girls. I don't mean to be chauvinistic, but it's just a fact. It was always girls. And the statement they used to call me with is they'd say, and it was when I first started sober living, I would get a call from a girl and they would go, hey, I need the new sober living. And I go, why? And they go, there's too much drama here. And I would just hang up on them. I already know they're the drama. I've already known 100% of people that tell me there's too much drama here are the drama. Nobody that's not dramatic says there's too much drama. It's always drama people. It's 100%. I've never said there's too much drama here. Too much drama here. It's like, you're it. Stop. Stop. You just know they love it, you know? But yeah. So you know, that's a good question, but the way around that is to really see your own your parts that and how they come at us. You see, all my parts are for the most part what they say they want, they don't want. Okay? You know, You see, I have a part of me that wants to please Angie, and that part of me will say, like today, we're driving home from the doctor's, and that part of me said, hey, let's stop and get her gas. She loves when you fill the tank without her asking. You know, she just loves that. Angie loves a full tank of gas. I mean, she just loves it. She loves a full tank of gas, and she also panics when her phone's on 62% or lower. Mine's on like 8%, and I'm like, "Can I get the cord?" She's like, I'm down around 62%. I have no power to give you right now. But we're pulling into the gas station, and another part of me's like, she better not say get gas. You see? Because she'll ruin it for us. So if she thought maybe I was just pulling in there to get a snack or a coffee, then she was going to say, we could get gas. And I was going to go, no, I don't want to. There's a part of me that loves taking out the garbage as long as she didn't ask me to take out the garbage. But as soon as she asked me to take out a garbage, a part of me goes, no, don't take out the garbage. You're not going to see this. You see? Yeah.
Sherry does all the time.
Yeah.
Point fingers over.
Yeah.
What's that called? Oppositional demand of order?
Well, I like to be the one.
To think of it,
Yeah.
could be your idea.
Yes, I love taking out the garbage when it's my idea. I hate taking out the garbage when it's not my idea. That's how I am.
Roll.
When I'm taking it out, when she's not telling me, I'm like, you know?
She's a magistrate.
Yeah. What you doing, honey? Just take out the garbage. So that's like, yeah. Then when she says, "Can you take out the garbage?" I'm just like, my God, who does she think I am? It's a prison around here.
Do the opposite.
But see, that's it. That's knowing about ourselves. That's knowing a simple little thing like that. Most humans don't take the time to learn about themselves. This is the opportunity that we've all gotten here. This is why we come here. This is why we're in this room. It's like, hey, guess what? We all see some truth here. There's truth that this showed up for me. Yeah, it showed up like addiction, or it showed up like problematic behavior. But it showed up to show you your parts. It did. Do not tell me you think this showed up so you could fix somebody, so you could save the day. It didn't show up like that. It showed up because we need to be challenged to have these things show us about ourselves. We need to get to this fourth level of ourselves, this other level of wisdom, this thing where we can find compassion and wisdom and peace and calmness and be with people that are struggling and not be angry and learn this stuff. And get to that fourth, parents all the time, I'm like, you know what to do. You just haven't got to that level yet. But you know the answer. Deep down, you know what you should do. You know what you should say. But you're coming from these first parts of yourself and you keep screwing it up because these first parts of you aren't talking to help the person. They're talking to protect you. You know? That part of you that says you need boundaries, that part of you is an asshole. Boundaries don't help you help no one. The part of you that's saying you need boundaries is saying you need to stay away from that person. You need to stop being hurt. You need to set boundaries and you need to be smaller so you don't get hurt. That's not right. You need to learn. That part of you isn't saying learn about yourself, grow. That part of you isn't saying, hey, if you don't have boundaries, what you'll do is you'll feel some different pain than you're not used to feeling, and you need to be around people that cause that pain. Yeah.
How do you define boundaries? It's not a way to stop from being put in terms.
Okay.
How do you define boundaries?
Huh?
How do you define boundaries?
Well, I'm not talking about boundaries such as things like, I should let people smoke drugs in my house. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about emotional boundaries. I'm talking about I can't be around this person because they say things to me that I don't like.
Okay.
I'm talking about, I can't be in this. I'm not suggesting that a woman be in a relationship or a man be in a relationship and get cheated 10 times and not end the relationship.
So a boundary for me would be if I don't like how somebody's treating me, I'm gonna walk away.
Yeah, see, I don't agree with that.
Well, what would you do instead?
I agree that in that case of somebody treating me a certain way, there could be growth. There could be a figuring out of the parts of me that are struggling with this, comparing to the parts of them that are interacting. In a case where somebody isn't treating you a certain way, a certain part of them is treating a certain part of you in some way. And that part of them hits a part of you. And my suggestion in that is, where's the leadership? You see, where is the observation of that person that wants to grow? If I want to be responsible for a relationship and I want to help a kid and the kid doesn't treat me a way that I like, where's my growth to be able to help that person?
I'm not talking about this.
No, I know you're not. I know. I don't care. I don't. Yeah. But I'm suggesting that even with coworkers, even with people, I'm suggesting, and this is a personal opinion, not anything else, not fact. I'm suggesting that in growing and knowing my parts, I can't have boundaries because boundary says you've hit a certain part of me that I don't want to be with. And because I don't want to be with that part of me, I can't be with you. And if I want to learn about this part of me that can't be with you, then I need you.
And when you use the word hit, you're not talking physical hit.
No, I'm talking about hit something
Exactly.
inside that makes me feel a certain way, brings about insecurities, brings about a certain rumbling in here that I don't like. So now I got to stay away from you.
Right. And so
You say we need to get closer to the fire to learn about ourselves. I'm saying Democrats and Republicans should be in a room staying until it's done and hitting each other and hitting parts of each other until we get this worked out.
And that's funny because that's what I'm thinking of is I can't stand to listen to some people.
That's right.
And so I'm.
That's right. And that's for a lot of people right now. And I'm in the same boat. But I don't actually believe that that's the answer, is that we stay away from each other. I'm saying 50% of America thinks the other 50% of America has lost their goddamn mind. That can't be true. Just can't be true. It cannot be true that half the people in this country have lost their mind. And if you talk to one half, they'll say the other half has lost their mind. And if you talk to the other half, they'll say that. And I'm saying that this has to be somewhere based in parts of people and life experience, and that we have to get to know each other's life experience and parts of each other. And we have to stay with each other to figure this out.
So if the person makes me feel bad, don't turn it off. I should keep listening to understand.
You should listen to the part of you that feels bad. There's a part of you talking to you when you're with that person. So when you're with that person, there's a part of you that's going like, Jesus Christ, this person is an idiot. They just need to shut up. They just need to, and you don't like that. Okay. So now if you hear that inside while you're talking to that person, the work becomes questioning why that part of you is getting riled up. So you say, wait, why are you saying that? Why are you telling me how annoying they are? I'm here. I'm with you. Just calm down, little guy. It's going to be okay. And it's calming yourself down to get to the point where you could hear them. I do these talks with my nephew about every 6 months. My nephew's a pure socialist. Not just a pure I mean, this kid puts his money where his mouth is. He's got a house and he's got about 5 trans people living with him. He's gay. He is. Me and him and we get together and we hit each other's parts. And it's the most difficult conversations, and I have to be with him. And at the end, we hug every time. And I learned something and he learned something and we challenge each other and it was 6 hours. It was six. Yeah, yeah.
Rumblings. I was near the house and I kept hearing, I was like. I was taking her on the corner.
Yeah. But to me, that's the best conversation. There's nothing to it other than he's teaching me about myself. And my only regret is not that I didn't get my point across or make him think the way I think. My only regrets come in any of the anger that I displayed. That why couldn't I have just been better at listening? You know, so I don't have personally. I just don't. I don't think boundaries can help us in any way grow. They can for sure help us not feel pain. So if you don't want to feel pain, that's fine.
Or fear.
Or fear, but yeah, or anger. But to me, growth means I feel anger and I feel pain and I grow through it. And growth means I can look back and go, when these things used to be said, I used to get really angry, and now that I've grown, I don't get angry. And that's the measurement of growth. But if I say, anything that makes me feel pain or I don't like, then I just keep it away from me because I have boundaries, then okay, but I don't see how you're going to grow. That's all. And so that's why I just think that we need to rid ourselves of those in not in all cases. And there's cases where we go, God, this is extreme and you can't ask me to be with this person, or this is extreme and you can't ask me to
But I can always ask Alexa to stop.
Let's stop.
Okay, well, listen, I don't know. So it's a never ending conversation. We've done it over 500 times. We're here all the time. I don't know. I can just tell you one thing. I don't know if I've helped anyone. People have gotten better, but I don't know if I've helped. I can't really take the credit. What I can say is that it's an honor to be able to be around everyone at their hard times. And it's an honor to be here and get to do this. And I can say the only thing I take from it is how much I've grown. And not grown in a way that I feel like, grown in a way that I can get through a lot and have peace in here every single day. And I've learned how to make peace inside of me through a lot of messed up behavior and accusations and and various opinions of who we are. But anyways, thank you for the honor of helping and being here, and I appreciate it, and everyone's doing great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.